Okay, so when you hear the word Xochimilco, what pops into your head? I'm guessing it's those super colorful boats, right? Mariachi music floating over the water, maybe some tacos, a big floating party. And you know what? You're not wrong, but that's just scratching the surface. Today, we're going to go way beyond the party boats to uncover the ancient genius, the incredible wildlife, and the very real challenges facing this amazing place.
All right, first things first, let's dive into the scene that everybody knows and loves. Xochimilco's reputation as a floating fiesta is totally earned, and honestly, it's a huge part of what makes it so special today. Just try to wrap your head around that for a second. Over 170 kilometers of canals, winding their way through one of the biggest cities on the planet. The nickname, the Venice of Mexico, makes perfect sense. It really gets to the heart of a place that's built on water, a tradition that goes back centuries, long before the Spanish ever showed up. And the star of the show is, of course, the trajinera. These aren't just boats, they're basically floating pieces of art. Each one is painted with these incredible, vibrant colors and usually named after a woman. They've got a long table right down the middle, which is just perfect for getting your friends together to eat, drink, and just soak it all in.
Hopping on a trajinera is a total sensory explosion, in the best way possible. As you're gliding along, other boats will pull right up next to you. One might be a full mariachi band, ready to serenade you. The next one is a floating kitchen, grilling up fresh tacos or serving roasted corn, elotes, covered in cheese and chili. It's this moving, thriving marketplace of music, food, and culture that makes it all feel so alive.
But here's where the story gets really interesting, because just beneath the surface of this vibrant party, there's a story of incredible, ancient ingenuity. This whole network of canals, it's what's left of a massive agricultural system that literally fed an empire.
You know, the name Xochimilco actually means place of the floating gardens. But here's the twist, a little secret. The gardens don't actually float. So, what's really going on here?
The answer is the chinampa. These are these amazing man-made islands, a technique the Aztecs perfected to create super fertile farmland right in the middle of a lake. It's not just farming, it's a masterpiece of sustainable engineering.
And when you actually see how they were built, it's just wow. A total stroke of genius. These islands were designed to be self-irrigating and packed with nutrients. It's ecological engineering at its absolute finest, centuries ahead of its time.
So, let's break it down. First, they'd weave a big rectangular box out of reeds. Then, they'd anchor that to the lake floor. Next, they'd just start piling it high with layers of lake weeds and that super rich mud from the bottom. But here's the final, crucial move. They'd plant willow trees, called ajujotos, all along the edges. Their roots would grow down and act like a living fence, locking the whole island in place. Brilliant! And you absolutely cannot overstate how important this was. This wasn't just some quaint little farming technique. This was the breadbasket for the entire Aztec Empire. The chinampas in Xochimilco alone supplied something like 60% of the food for Tenochtitlan, a massive city of up to 300,000 people. It's just incredible.
And that brings us to the Xochimilco of today, which is kind of living a double life. It's a place where this loud, festive present exists right alongside a quiet, ecological past. And sometimes it's a little bit of an awkward fit. See, on one hand, you have the tourist canals. They're crowded, they're noisy, they're full of music and people selling things. It's the classic party boat scene. But then, on the other hand, you have the natural reserve. It's quiet, it's green, and it's all about conservation, farming, and bird watching. It feels like a completely different universe.
This means your whole experience of Xochimilco can be totally different depending on the choices you make. If you show up at the main dock on a weekend afternoon, you're walking into a full-on fiesta. But if you book a quiet tour from an ecological dock on a weekday morning, you get a glimpse into the ancient agricultural soul of the place.
And that brings us to the most urgent part of the story, because this unique paradise, this legacy that's been around for centuries, is facing some very, very serious threats.
The stakes here are just incredibly high. I want you to really hear this number. This small patch of wetlands holds 2% of the entire planet's biodiversity. 2% in this one spot on the edge of a megalopolis. It is an ecological treasure of global importance.
But it's all at risk. The constant growth of Mexico City is literally swallowing its edges. Illegal drainage pipes are polluting the water. The city is so thirsty for water that it's threatening to dry up the canals. And on top of all that, non-native fish like tilapia have been introduced, and they're just wrecking the delicate natural balance.
This whole crisis is perfectly captured in the struggle of Xochimilco's most famous and most vulnerable resident, the axolotl.
The axolotl is such a cool creature. It's a type of salamander that basically never grows up. It lives its whole life in the water. And it has this almost superpower-like ability to regenerate its limbs. It's found nowhere else on Earth, and its fight for survival has become this really powerful symbol for the health of the entire ecosystem.
So as we start to wrap this up, it's pretty clear that saving Xochimilco is about so much more than just protecting a tourist attraction. It's about protecting a living, breathing legacy.
You know, the Chinapa system isn't just a cool thing from a history book. It's a living example of what some people have called one of the most productive and sustainable farming systems ever created. Ever. It holds lessons that we could still learn from today.
Ultimately, Xochimilco is three incredible things all at once. It's a living museum of Aztec genius, it's a vital green space, a lung for one of the most crowded cities in the world, and it is a critical safe harbor for global biodiversity. Its value is cultural, environmental, and historical.
And so we'll leave you with this question. The tourism that brings so much life and so much money to the canals also adds to the problems that threaten them. Finding that balance between celebrating a place and preserving it is the great challenge for Xochimilco's future. And it asks all of us to think, how can we be good visitors, not just here, but in all the precious places we travel to?